Okay, let's continue our discussion, of formulating and presenting a job offer. Again, when this offer, you better know what your competition is doing. If you're not aware of that through compensation surveys and such, you're likely to have a difficult time getting the candidates that you want. As we've mentioned previously, what's happening in the labor market are the competencies that you're looking for, are they in tight demand? That's certainly going to be something that you have to consider when putting these offers together. Also be mindful in the contracts and the offers that you put a clause in that says basically if the applicant has not been truthful in what they presented to you in the job application and resume, then you have the right to fire that person. Because unfortunately, in today's society, telling the truth is sometimes a rare commodity. So you'll often get folks that will kind of embellish their resume, thinking it's okay that everybody does it, and then you hire the person, and if you find that to be the case, if they're not the employee that you expected, you certainly want this in your contract to be able to proceed with an immediate termination of that employee. Try to anticipate what you think the offer is going to be received. You're going to know if this offer is competitive. It might be not as high as you want, but you're hoping you can get the employee through other intangible benefits like the environment that you're working for. So be aware of maybe possible objections that the applicant is going to give you so that you have the opportunity to talk through those. Policies on negotiations and initial offers. Again, you need to think through this for both internal as well as external employees. Also consider the cost if the applicant rejects the offer. So in other words, you don't want to nickel and dime someone, because if you have to start the whole process over, then that's going to cost you a lot of time, energy, and money. So consider that when you're kind of getting down to some final number. Know that candidates may be receiving counter offers from their current employer. That often happens. I will tell you, I have done this many times. Employees have come to me and said, I've got to offer some for across the street for a couple $1,000s, and I'll say, look, you've got a lot going on here. You're known here. You've got vacation time here. You've got benefits. And if I can match that $2,000, if I can come up to $2,500, will you consider staying? And I've had that be successful in many instances. So on the other end, I've also had that happen where I thought I've had an employee and they've decided to stay with their current employer. So know that that's out there. Again, you may think about that when you're making the initial offer. You might want to go a little higher if you think that that is a likely event. Also, remember when these candidates who are currently employed are leaving, again, you might have things like vacation time and seniority that they've had at their other employer, and you want to do what you can to make them whole. And know that many candidates are very sophisticated in their ability to negotiate on their own behalf. So you really do need to do your homework up front. Now again, strategies for this, you can lowball some employees and hope to get good deals. I personally don't like this one. I think biblically speaking, you're to pay a worker his or her due, what they're due. And oftentimes you think you're getting a good deal, but the employee is disgruntled. They're kind of make others disgruntled around them. And then they end up leaving. And it's almost, penny wise and pound foolish type of thing. So pay a worker what he or she is due. You can do market matching. This is probably the most common, where you do employee surveys, you figure out what competitors are paying, and then you try to match that. And then sometimes you just say, we want to be an employer of choice. We're going to pay top dollar, and we're going to have candidates naturally want to come to our organization. We feel that we can cut some of our advertising costs just by being an employer of choice. So a very good strategy. When you're presenting these strategies, again, it depends on the position a little bit. You can have a mechanical approach where you send out an email or a letter just saying, congratulations, you've been accepted, blah, blah, blah. But I highly recommend doing what's called here the sales approach. You want to reach out to the person, say that, we're really impressed with you, make that personal connection, and start building that bridge to a fully engaged employee in your organization. Now you can see here from your text some reasons why people reject offers. Again, hopefully you've thought through some of those beforehand. Know if you have the ability to make a counter offer. Obviously how high you can go. I like to ask always the prospective employee, what would it take? What would it take to get you here? And then obviously you want to know what you can do as an organization. Again, be mindful of reneging. That's just very unprofessional. And sometimes, it's the case where you make somebody an offer, some event occurs, and it completely changes business conditions. That does happen. Just be mindful of the impact on employees. It's certainly not something you want to do on a regular basis. And it is something that you can get sued for if employees have sold the homes and cars, as I've mentioned in an earlier video.